Hello boys and girls, we're going to look at what your research project is going to look like and what it's going to take to accomplish the job. We're going to use George Washington Carver as an example. We're going to study him. Some of the questions you might ask as you're doing your research papers: how do I do research? Am I even old enough to do this? Why am I having to do this? What are the goals? Are they big goals? Little goals? What if I get stuck? Well, these are the questions to be answered. How do I research? Well, we're going to look at some safe internet sites and we're going to read your fact sheet. You're also going to take notes. Each one of you is going to be given a folder. It's going to have your fact sheet in it, paper, a word bank, and this is where you're going to keep all the stuff you're working on. And when you're taking a note, you'll take out your paper, you'll take your notes, and you'll stick it back in. Am I even old enough for this? You're certainly old enough to learn. We believe in you. And we're trying to make it fun. We're going to try to use the computer so that it helps you. And it'll be more of a fun activity than a boring activity. Why do I have to do this? Well, it sets you up for success now and in the future. It's important to help you better understand the world. Especially if some of you want to go to college, this is going to help you prepare you in case you want to go to college and you know how to write a research paper, or in first grade you're starting to learn how to write research papers. What are the goals? Are they big goals, little goals? The big goal is to learn how to research and write information about nonfiction. The small goal is to learn about a person you're interested in. What if you get stuck? Well, you could ask your neighbor, especially if they're studying the same person you are, but the best advice is to go ask the teacher for help. These are the safe sites for kids research. We have the SchoolTube, we have the FactMonster.com, AwesomeLibrary.org, SweetSearch.com, the IPL.org KidSpace, and the Dictionary Reference. All of these things are search engines or a place to look up words. Here's George Washington Carver, and we're using Sweet Search. So we put Sweet Search up in the top bar to look for it. And then when it comes up, we have Sweet Search, and we're going to put George Washington Carver in the search engine. So we click the next button, and George Washington Carver comes up. And we see that we can click on George Washington Carver. It's in the blue, so we'll click on it. And then George Washington Carver comes up. Remember, a good researcher has their paper at hand and they're ready to take notes. So we're looking here at George Washington Carver, and it's going to tell when he's born and died and a little bit about him. So over on your paper, you'll probably want to write he was born in 1864. He died January 5th of 1943. He was a famous agricultural scientist. What does agricultural mean? Well, you probably don't know, but write it down and we'll look it up later. He worked with peanuts, and the first national monument in honor of a black person was George Washington Carver's childhood home. So you've got notes, you've got to start, and then we're going to go to the dictionary now. We'll put the dictionary reference up in the top bar, and of course the dictionary reference page is going to come up, and we'll put in agriculture. Our noun says that it's a science, art, or occupation concerned with cultivating land, raising crops, and feeding, breeding, and raising livestock. It's farming. Well, what did George Washington Carver work with? He worked with peanuts. So it probably means he was raising crops and he was farming. So you might want to put farming out to the side so you can remember what that meant. The other thing you might pull up is the SchoolTube. The SchoolTube has instructional videos. So once you pull it up, you would put George Washington Carver in the search engine at the bottom, and we'll see what comes up. Well, here we have the boyhood of George Washington Carver. That sounds like that might be something we need to look at. So we'll click on it, and it looks like it might be a video about George Washington Carver. You could also click on the Gamequarium, and you might be able to find a game to play about him and learn different facts. But this looks like it's a little video that's going to give you information about George Washington Carver. All you students are going to get a information sheet. This is George Washington Carver's information sheet. It tells his name, shows a picture of him. It tells when he was born and when he died. It tells where he lived. So here it says he was born in Diamond, Missouri. And then it tells us some little facts about him. George Washington Carver was a great scientist and inventor. He devised many uses for the peanut. He was born into slavery and was kidnapped when he was a baby. After he was kidnapped, George became sick and he couldn't work as a slave anymore. So he wandered the fields studying plants. Well, the plant he was very interested in that he worked with was the peanuts. And we know that peanuts are grown in Georgia, and so that is probably where he was when he wandered the fields in looking at the plants. Another interesting fact is that President Theodore Roosevelt asked George Washington Carver for advice about agriculture in the United States. When he died, President Roosevelt dedicated land to make a memorial for George Washington Carver. So he was an important person in history, even to the President of the United States, who asked for his help. So don't forget to take notes of the things you learned during the video when you're looking at your sites. So your research steps are: make sure you're taking notes, keep your sheet updated with everything that you've learned. When you're going to start writing or doing your poster, you're going to look through your notes and you're going to look at those facts and you're going to put them either on your poster squares or in your research paper. All of you will have a Black History word bank, and in this case the words the words for our person we're doing the example with might be slavery, because he was born into slavery. He might have been a sharecropper because he was able to wander the fields and look at plants, and a sharecropper takes care of farming. We might look at his heritage, where he came from, what was the place he was born and lived, and how did he get from one place to another. Then we have our rubric. A rubric is how the teachers are going to grade you. So you want to get 40 points in each box. There's 40, 30, 20, and 10. If you do everything the way we've asked, you'll get 40 points. If you forget to do some of it, the points will go down. But we're going to have ideas and research boxes, so you need to do all 8 boxes. And the second part would be the poster organization, where the student develops an excellent poster for organizing their information, and it'll also go down in points depending on how well you put that together. We're looking at mechanics. Do you have spelling errors? Do you have punctuation errors? Did you space between your words, or did they all run together? And so we're going to grade you on that. We're going to grade you on the neatness. In Mrs. White's class, we use a 3-star system. 3-star is the best coloring you can do. Then there's 2-star and 1-star. 3-star uses details. 2-star uses a little details and their coloring is good. 1-star doesn't use any details and their coloring is not the best. And then to get 10 points, you just didn't even try. You didn't use any details and it was hard to read what you were doing. Then the quality of information. You need to write 8 facts and provide a picture and add 2 additional facts. And then it goes down depending on how many facts you put in there. To get the 40 points, you need to do all 8 facts. Then, on the day of presentation, which will be February 12th, the student comes dressed up and you're confident in giving your report to the 4th graders. So you're going to present your report, read it to the 4th graders, and then you're going to have to answer questions about your person. And you're going to get points for that. The finished product is going to look like this. This is George Washington Carver. Here's our board. We put his name up there, and the students are using the rubric as a guide. The student researched his or her person. You did your best work. You brought in a character picture. You brought in 2 additional facts. The student added detail to make the presentation his or her own, and the student is prepared for the presentation. So this one, they've added some stuff at the bottom, some plants it looks like. They've added a design around the edge. They've brought in their picture. They've put their facts in. It's neat. We can read it. So this might be what your finished product looks like. The research paper. The research paper is going to be worth 200 points, I believe. And this one is the same idea. We're going to have research questions, and you need to have at least 4 facts for 40 points. Then you need to plan for organizing the information. You've got a clear plan, and the teacher can understand it, and the people you're presenting it to are going to be able to understand it. To get 40 points, you have little to no spelling errors in spelling and punctuation. Your writing is neat, and you finger spaced, and it's easy to read. So you haven't run all your letters together, and it's neat. And the quality of information is the last grading point. and the writing has 5 to 6 descriptive details, going down to only having 1 descriptive detail. And remember, the teacher is here to help you if you get stumped. To begin with, you're going to have a rough draft or a sloppy copy when you start your research paper. So this one says George Washington Carver was born in 1864. Looks like they used the word off of their information sheet, they spelled the man's name right, and they were able to use some of the sight words and make a good sentence. And they talk about the year he was born. The second sentence says, I chose, but they were a little bit unclear about how to spell that word. So if you're unclear how to spell a word, you're going to circle the words. So here we go. The students circle the words they believe to be spelled wrong. So you have your rough draft. You're going to circle what you don't know how to spell, and we'll go back later and try to fix it. Another technique you might use is placing the long vowel sound over the word. So those first circled words are chose. Oh, is it chose? Nope. It's choose. No, it's chose, because we use the long vowel sound over the top. I chose to, and then we have the long vowel sound over E, study him, because. We spelled because wrong, but we know we can get our first grade helpers out to help us spell these words correctly. So you're going to use marks, circles to help you understand that we didn't get all of the letters right. The next part says he is very interesting. Remember, go to the R apartment. We have ER. It says interesting. Well, we didn't get it all right, but we know we can go look on the wall again. Look at the our apartment, look at the when two vowels go walking words, look at how the taxis move and what signs are on the taxi cars as we're writing this paper. So that's kind of how your rough draft is going to look. Then you're going to have your word bank too as you're writing. So students are going to have your word bank to help with the spelling words that you may need to describe your person. And the last but not least, the teacher's going to go over the rough draft, and we're going to help you edit it. It is then the student's job to go back and rewrite the research paper. So this is you working, me working, and then you going back and working. This is going to be a hard project, but the reason we do it is we're trying to help you be prepared when you have to take the writing test later this year. And learning to write now is only going to help you as you're in second grade and third grade and all the way through high school. So I hope this helped. If you need to look at it again, please go back and look at it again. And we're going to get busy tomorrow working on this. See you tomorrow.